The Prophet instructed Waraqah to lead her household in prayer, even assigning an old man to act as her muezzin and perform the call to prayer. Even the medieval scholars most opposed to woman-led prayer acknowledged that the word household, dar, used in the hadith, should be assumed to include men and women. There are also arguments that the term here used for household could equally have meant area or village. The hadith of Waraqah has been deemed sound, Sahih, by respected medieval scholars such as the ultra-conservative modern Salafi hadith critic Albani rated it as good, Hasan. Critics of woman-led prayer argue that the correct version of this hadith only describes Waraqah leading the women of her household in prayer as opposed to a mixed congregation. There are two widely transmitted versions, both telling how the Prophet instructed Waraqah to recite the Quran in her home, to lead her house in prayer, and assigning her a muezzin. There is also one isolated, uncorroborated transmission of the hadith that appears only in the Sunan of the 10th century Baghdad scholar Daraqutni. It includes the added phrase that she should lead the women of her home in prayer. Daraqutni also includes the gender unspecified version in his Sunan. In total, 5 transmitters narrated the gender-neutral version, with only one person passing onward the version specifying women only. The change to Waraqah's hadith, introduced by the one minority narration, is a textbook example of a phenomenon that ulama termed the addition of the trustworthy transmitter. Hadith critics authenticated material based on the preponderance of evidence. After gathering all the narrations of a particular hadith, the critic would select as the most reliable whichever one enjoyed the strongest evidence, both in terms of the raw number of narrations and the quality and status of the authorities who transmitted them. As long as the transmitter providing the version of the hadith with an addition could be argued as meeting the trustworthy rating, the addition was accepted. It became the received, authentic version of the hadith, regardless of the greater number or superior accuracy of contradictory narrations. In the case of Waraqah's hadith, jurists have used the rule of the addition of a trustworthy transmitter to advance the isolated women-only version found in Daraqutni's Sunan as the only version worthy of consideration. Rarely in Islamic legal discourse does a ruling hinge on a single datum. On the one hand, there is the widely attested majority version of the hadith, that women can lead mixed-gender prayers, affirmed by a master scholar renowned for his expertise in additions to the texts of hadiths. On the other, there is the isolated, uncorroborated version, that women can only lead women in prayer, vouched for by an accepted but obscure scholar known for little more than making an unusual addition to a hadith.